Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's installment of the Trenchless Technology webinar series. My name is Mike Kesdy, Managing Editor for Trenchless Technology and Trenchless Technology Canada magazines. And I'm pleased to moderate today's webinar, Improve Your Productivity and Expand Your Services with Schwalm USA Robotics Solutions. We're going to take a quick poll, so please submit your answer and then click the blue Return to Presentation button. I'd also like to take this time to remind everyone that any views or opinions presented in today's webinar are solely those of the presenters and do not necessarily represent those of Benjamin Media Inc., the publisher of Trenchless Technology magazine, nor does Benjamin Media Inc. endorse any products or methods presented. Today's webinar is sponsored by Vortex Companies and will go into detail about the rugged Schwalm sewer robot's versatility, how it has helped improve contractors' productivity, and reduce the need for specialty equipment to perform tasks that other robots cannot. We'll hear about the robot's accessories, training, service, and custom-built robotics trucks and systems. To get the most out of today's webinar, I encourage the audience to ask questions. Type them into the questions box, and we'll address the questions at the end of today's presentation. Leading the webinar today is Pete Dannenberg, Senior Vice President, Vortex Technology Group. Pete oversees the company's continued expansion of high-tech equipment solutions. This includes the company's core line of Schwalm Robotics and the more recent addition of CIPP curing monitoring systems and UV CIPP curing technologies. Pete's in-depth knowledge of the practical application and sales of specialty technologies in the trenchless infrastructure rehabilitation space has been a tremendous asset to the company's growth in the water and sewer technologies market. Prior to joining Vortex in 2020, Pete worked for several industry-leading sewer technology companies, where he held positions of regional sales manager and lead field engineer. With this ground-level experience where he worked closely with contractors, Pete understands the need for robots that can consistently perform in aggressive and destructive sewer environments, giving him unique insight into contractors' expectations of a robotics system. With that, I'll turn things over to Pete.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Appreciate the info. I appreciate everyone taking the time out in their busy day today to take time to listen to Vortex and our specialty product that we're going to talk today about, Schwalm Robotics, something that I've been a part of for going on 15 to 16 years myself, touching this specific product that we're going to discuss today. But I want to give you a brief overview of Vortex as a whole, as a company, in our first couple slides here, and where we're at today with not only Schwalm Robotics and other products that we can provide in the trenchless industry that go along with Schwalm itself. And where we're at today as far as Vortex and how we think big, and the purpose and the platform that we provide at Vortex is the vision and the values that we can bring together, not only on the municipal side, but the contracting side, things that we can provide at every level. Where we started today, obviously, Mr. Mike Villano himself kicked the doors open for Vortex back in 2015. Currently today, we're around 700 employees, which is just a tremendous amount of people that we have brought to the table in Vortex over just the last couple of years. And the products that we've just expanded our products globally, and the bandwidth that we have with recent acquisitions that we brought to the table. But Schwalm itself did start back in 2016 with Vortex and Mike and Mr. Kenny Cochran. And we've acquired several companies and grown our business through the trenchless industry, from the UV side, from the polymeric side to the mortar side, and our recent acquisition with the large acquisition of United Felts, one of the largest manufacturers for CIPP liner, where we're at today, bringing all those pieces of the puzzle together to create Vortex a one-stop shop company for all your needs as a contractor or a municipality. And some of the The portfolio that goes along with it is our resin and liners, like I was discussing, our coatings and materials. And today what we're going to specifically talk about is our robotics division and our rehab equipment and some sensor and software programs that we have as well for CIPP. But today we're going to solely focus on the Schwalm Robotics side. With the Schwalm Robotics side, we are located in Greenville, South Carolina. Is where the main hub is for Schwalm Robotics. But throughout the United States, we have several different locations for manufacturing, contracting manufacturing, and other products throughout the United States. We have 16 to 17 different locations currently today. Okay, for Schwalm Robotics, today is what we're going to talk about. Making it a versatile, rugged, I always call it the Swiss Army knife for the contractors and municipalities today, for any type of tool that we can put on that, and we're going to discuss that moving forward. The history for Schwalm today, going back to the founding back in 1938, Schwalm was a contracting company, and then in 1997, they started building these Schwalm sewer robotics. And in 2009, Schwalm was introduced into the United States through a different company where I had met Kenny and Schwalm. I think I was 23 years old, where I first started using Schwalm in the field for installing liners, cutting protruding taps, and things like that. But the first Schwalm in the USA that was sold was in 2009. And then we worked our way, when I say we, Kenny, Cochran, and Schwalm USA worked their way through, got to Vortex in 2016. We've made some great innovations to the robots. We haven't changed a lot since generation 1, but we have made great improvements, getting feedback from customers over the years to things that we've been doing. And we've made great improvements. And last year, we probably made one of the biggest improvements to the front end of our robotics that I'll show in a slide. But we're super happy with where we keep innovating and moving forward with the Schwalm robotic product. Like I said, I mentioned the Schwalm robotic side is based out of Greenville, South Carolina. That's where our R&D are developed, the accessories for our robotics functionality, our inventory that we currently keep on hand. We keep over $2 million in parts and equipment full time. We have 5 full-time robot technicians. We have a new tap cutting institute that I'm going to talk about. And the big thing for me and Schwalm USA is the support coming from our tech team. Myself, Kenny, and our entire Schwalm team together. If we're touching everybody as a whole, we probably have 15 different people touching the Schwalm robotic product. And that's where we strive with the support and the service, with whether it's a phone call, an email away, night work. I can't say enough about our Schwalm team in general, and how good our support has been. And we're showcasing that all across Vortex products, not only Schwalm, but to be able to support our customers at any time of the day is a big deal for not only myself, but Vortex. So what we're going to discuss going through some of this is our 2 different options that we have for the Schwalm robotic sizes. We have our 1330, which does 6-inch line pipe to 12-inch line pipe. We have our 2060 our larger robot that does 8-inch line pipe to 24-inch line pipe. We can extend past that. I'll get into more detail when we discuss the robots individually. But we have special carriage systems and attachments that will allow us to take us up to 36-inch. I'll discuss that as well. The service and support, and everything else as far as the accessories that we'll discuss down the line. Our first robot that we will discuss today is the 1330. This is our smaller robot. It is intended for 6-inch line pipe all the way up to 12-inch line pipe. This has a fixed camera on the front. And when I say fixed, I mean this is bolted on to the front with 4 screws. This camera and brain box, I'll discuss that later on, but the camera, the brain box portion is the back end of the robot where the digital components are. Most digital components in sewer robotics today, whether it's your CCTV equipment or anybody else's standard cutting equipment, they keep their components, their digital components, sort of the brains of the operation inside the body of the robot. Schwalm is a little bit different. Knowing how important it is for Schwalm and the digital components, not only just for Schwalm, but other components or other robotics, is it's important to be able to access the digital components of a robot. So we keep it ready, available, accessible at the back end of the robot. That is the brass piece on the back. That piece is interchangeable with our 2060 robot as well. I'll discuss that on the next slide, but the camera from the little robot and the brain box from the little robot are interchangeable between the 2 robots. But for 6-inch line pipe, I'm fully transparent. When it comes to line pipe today, 6-inch line pipe is very, very tough to deal with, not only lining, trying to cut protruding taps and things like that. So your 6-inch line pipe that you're trying to access with the Schwalm Robotic will need to be fairly and relatively straight. No big offsets, big wrinkles and things like that can become a nuisance, not only to the Schwalm Robotic side, to any sort of CCTV equipment. So it is tight working in a 6-inch pipe is what I'm trying to get at. Next slide here is our 2060 robot. This is probably our workhorse of the force. I think to go into full detail, we do about 70 to 80 robots a year. And I would say our 2060 robot is probably our most popular. We probably sell anywhere from, out of our 80 robots a year, we're probably roughly around the 60 to 70 mark of the big ones. This is the one that most entertains all of our contractors and municipality, just because of the versatility of it and the different attachments that can go on to the large robot. But our robots are the air motor is operated by air. It's hydraulically driven. Like I said, the parts are interchangeable. We build out these robots with special axles that build out to what we call monster tires or truck tires that go up to the 24-inch size. But all sorts of different attachments that we can do to this one. We are now trying to introduce also to the smaller one. But if we had to label out one big robot, this is the one for us for our workhorse. As far as the functionality of the robot itself, obviously forward, backwards, the swivel rotation, the clockwise. I think what stands out, the front end of the image that you see here, which I'm going to discuss in a couple slides past this, is the functionality of the tool mounting itself. The tool is what we're calling where the air motor drops into a cup that's in the front of that robot, and being able to access the swivel of that tool almost 360 degrees. We do stop. There is a cutting bar, so we don't stop and hit our camera with the cutting head to come backwards. But the functionality, being able to swivel this rotating tool, being able to view the pipe below you, and being able to cut is amazing. This was the biggest improvement that we had made to Schwalm in the past couple of years. Cable reel options. We have multiple, I guess, should say a few different options for the cable drum itself. We have what we call our new UE MSI reel, which we've been manufacturing for the past couple of years. We can accommodate anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 feet of cable on this reel. We can use a gold cable. We can use a Red Max cable on this. I'm going to get into integration and how we can incorporate our Schwalm system into existing CCTV vans. But then we also have our standalone 19-pin reel, which comes from Schwalm. So if we're unable to adapt into your existing, if you do have an existing CCTV camera or truck, and we're unable to integrate into that 12-pin system, we have our independent 19-pin reel. But we have multiple options for reels to fit into your existing trucks, but these are the options that we provide today. The independent 19-pin reel today has 660 feet of cable on it. Our new portable system, myself, Kenny, and Mike here, it was a pretty collaborative effort of the team that we have down in Greenville. I can't say enough about my team and the innovation that we've got to push forward with on the Schwalm side, but we came up with an idea that we needed to expand. We had a lot of requests for rentals, and we needed to find an easy way for the contractor or the municipality, if they weren't ready to jump in head first on the Schwalm Robotics side. We wanted to be able to provide something to them that they could easily pick up and take to a job site, or we could ship something out, a full package for the Schwalm side. This has been a huge hit. Big thanks to our team for putting these together, but we can't keep these on the shelf. We wanted them for our rental department, but every time we go to rent them out, they haven't been coming back. They've just been gobbled up by our contractors. But this is just one piece that we were happy to put out to the customers last year. But it's a skid mount that you're able to pick up, whether it's with a Bobcat, a forklift, put it to a trailer, 60 by 60 wide, and weighs about 1,700 pounds without the robot. We're able to adapt a crane on the top as well for the purposes of lowering down the robot. The robots themselves do get pretty heavy. Full built out to 24-inch. The 2060 robot will max out about 200 pounds. So full brass, you will need a crane and some power behind lowering this equipment down into a manhole. Our next slide, this is kind of for our existing customers. So to say, if you had, if you had a Schwalm back in the day, a small one, this was a huge improvement for us, was to be able to extend out the arms on our little 1330 robot. We implemented this last year as well to give the camera more view. We had a lot of feedback from our customers on this specific adjustment that we needed to make. But if you're an existing Schwalm user that has a 1330, this was a big improvement for us on the and this can be done in the field. We have these ready available. These can be shipped out and put on by the customer themselves. Next slide is our this is one that I'm super happy that we came out with last year. This is what I was talking about as far as the tool rotation. If I sneak back here, if you're paying attention, the images in this picture, you'll notice the brass piece on the front of the robot. That's where the air motor would drop in, and we tighten it up. And we had a bunch of different fittings that we would have to connect in order for the front of the motor. And we had an air line running on the side. Became quite cumbersome for the user. Would sometimes get tangled up in the pipe, and that's when Kenny and the team they got together and we made a big improvement on the cup on the front. This allows you is for the rotation, not only to not have any problems with that airline or the 90s. You drop the air motor in and it's 2 screws and away you go. We now introduce the air down through the arm into the tool. This is a big time improvement as well. This can be done on all of the old existing Schwalm robots as well. If you're an existing user, this can be done in the field with some training, and we have a whole pamphlet on how this can be done in the field. Next is our egg profile carriage. Egg profile, larger diameter. We have this system currently ready available in Greenville that we will rent out or for purchase, but anything past 24-inch, We've had customers reach out for this specific cradle so they can introduce their robot into a 30 or possibly even a 33-inch pipe. Typically, we don't see a ton of need for it in a 36-inch pipe. Usually at the time of a 36-inch pipe, whether you're trying to cut something out, a protruding tap or service of some sort, most people are doing man entry. But there is another level past 24-inch that we can offer if you feel the need that we need to go back in there with a robotic cutter. So we offer this as well. Our Tap Cutting Institute, this is something that I was super, another big improvement for our team, being able to provide the training. When it comes to Schwalm, when you invest into Schwalm, we have you come to Greenville or any sort of way that we can get you the training and support. When you invest in with Schwalm and us, it's all about the support, where you would come to Greenville and during the time we would, if we're integrating into your existing truck at the time of your training, while they're doing the integration onto your truck or your new truck or trailer, whatever we're doing, we give you that training at the same time. Like I said, we have 5 full-time robot technicians in a room where they'll teach you anywhere to build this robot from scratch. We have robots laid out. We have over 800 robots, close to 800 robots throughout the United States. And at all times when I'm at the office, we usually have anywhere from 10 to 12 robots laying there that need repair. The big thing for us as far as service and repair, when you come in and you get that training, the guys are teaching you how to fix these robots in the field when something goes wrong. These are robotic cutters. If you know anything about robotic cutters and CCTV equipment, you're in a sewer pipe and there's vibration. You're really beating up on some of this equipment and things can go wrong. So you need to be able to have the knowledge to fix things in the field quickly, have the parts that you need. But our guys in this Tap Cutting Institute and the training that you receive is it's top notch. So not only in the office learning how to repair a robot, but we take you out. We have a simulator which replicates a CCTV truck with a cutter in it, where the guys can go out and they can cut for days. We also implemented this because we have several large contractors and even smaller contractors who the turnover rate for tap cutters and guys, it's hard to keep a good crew together, it feels like sometimes, but we also want to be able to offer those companies to be able to come in, send any guys they want. We have roughly 3 to 4 customers a month that come in, they send their guys, and all they do is they sit out in the simulator and learn how to cut and take that back to the real environment. So this was something I was super proud of the team coming up with to help out municipalities and contractors. On the accessory side, so with things that you need when you invest into Schwalm, it's air. Our motors are air driven. We have 2 different types of air hoses. I should say in lengths. We have a 500-foot reel. We have an 800-foot reel. I would say 95% of our customers do use the 500-foot reel. That's a lot of drag to be pulling in a pipe, whether it's a line pipe or unlined pipe. We need to be able to carriage that hose, not only the robot to travel down the pipe, but we need to be able to drag the hose as well. And I will say that the Schwalm starts to push its limits somewhere around 500, 550 feet. So accessing and putting 800 feet of hose behind that Schwalm, most of the time the guys will use a tagline to help assist get anything over 500-600 feet. So we do keep that option though, because there are line segments that the customer needs, is not able to access the pipe from the other side. It has a built-in water hose that's welded right in. So it's a 2-part hose. You have one for your air, one for your water. The water is for cleaning your lens. We clean with water. We've tried different avenues as far as how we keep that camera clean. when it comes to cutting, especially our this robotic cutter it's called a tap cutter for a reason. The majority of the use of these cutters today in the U.S. And in Europe, they cut out liners for services, and behind those services can come wet resin, wet liner that'll want to stick to your camera. We stuck with water. We've also developed with our motors to keep the air from reflecting backwards and being able to push the debris away from the camera while you're cutting. That's been a big improvement. That came along with the cup upgrade on the robots. But being able to have the water to clean your lens was we prefer that over a wiper today. We also have a portable air hose reel. If there's a situation that is needed in an easement or things like that, we can add extensions on with a portable air hose reel. Another accessory is your controllers in your rack system. This gets mounted up into whether it's your truck, your trailer, however we're mounting this. This is your brains of your operation up in your office. Along with that come with your joysticks. I learned in my days to run with the joysticks, but over the last couple of years, Kenny and the Schwalm team have developed a way to, just like your CCTV equipment today, to have a PlayStation or Xbox controller. We roll with a PlayStation controller. The young gamers out there today, everybody that comes in and sees our demos and presentations, we let them play with the sticks, and we feel that all the younger generation today is using the PlayStation controller. Same functionality, but these are the key components in order to run your robot. Forward, backwards, tilt, rotation, dimmer, everything that you need in order to run the robot itself from afar. Excuse me. Our air motor options, 2060 and 1330 air motors. Sometimes I still get educated on both of these. I learned from my guy this morning. I always asked low speed, high torque. I do know a lot about the Bacote air motor that we also offer as well. We needed to slow things down, so we needed low speed, high torque. If any of you are familiar with the Bacote products, we do offer, I'm going to get into that in a minute, but we have a special air motor just for Bacote tooling in order to add on to the front of the robot. But we also offer our 1330 air motor and our 2060 air motor, higher RPMs on the 1330 air motor. We like to roll with this air motor, like our big robot with little air motor in an 8 or a 10-inch pipe because of the clearance. And then the 2060 for our larger pipe. Cleaning and cutting attachments. I'm gonna talk about these briefly, as far as one by one. But far as we have over 130 different attachments and cutting balls, mushroom heads, different extensions, wire brushes, the Bacote tooling, like I had mentioned, things that we're going to discuss on these next slides. So our most aggressive cutter today, what we have is your everyday cutter. This is probably your tap cutter that does cast iron, concrete, steel, clay. We have sizes large and small. This is when we send you a package, we recommend sticking with this milling head for sure on the large and small side. But this is probably our most popular, the workhorse of our cutting heads. Milling heads, when it comes to cutting CIPP, whether it's traditional CIPP or UV GRP glass liner, PVC, we have special milling heads for that as well. Kenny and the team came up with a new design especially for UV. UV seems like it's becoming more prevalent, more popular today. So cutting a fine glass liner, we created a special ball specifically for that. So any sort of cutting ball attachment, if you're trying to cut something in specific, whether it's thick liner, thin liner, Kenny and the team, they have everything you need when it comes to the cutting heads. An air chisel. This is an older tool that still gets used regularly with the Schwalm Robotics for the 2060 only. But this was intended for chipping out concrete, calcium removal, and any type of seal that we had back in the day that we needed to get out with. But this is an old school tool that still works very, very well in the pipe. Our air grinder, believe it or not, somehow rebar finds its way shoved through a pipe. Mechanical seals, anything that you can think you can cut out with an air grinder, this gets attached right onto the front of the robot as well, used with air. But this still gets used regularly. How metal drives its way through sewer pipes is pretty shocking to me. We have a plug system. It's sort of like a mechanical seal that gets driven in by air. So if you can imagine the front of your robot having an impact driver on the front, this is like your mechanical seal. When you tighten it up, it's creating a seal. You're going to drive down the pipe. You're going to stick this up the lateral, turn your air on, and that expands. It's an expandable plug. You would ask, why do we need this today? Whether it's dead services, there's municipalities out there today that are specifying this specific technology. There's actually cities out there that still go out, specify that they need to mechanically plug this. In Europe, it came to their table. Believe it or not, they would actually go out and plug sewer services. If they had an issue with a homeowner possibly not paying their bill on time. I don't think we do that here in the States today, but there's many different reasons, and this is still pretty popular to use here in the States for any sort of plugging a service. If we're trying to stop infiltration at the moment, and we need to take it out after we reinstate, these can also be, just put it in forward, we expand, we put it in reverse, we can take it right back out. So as easily put it in, we can take it right back out. Lateral rehabs and spot repairs. So this is a single manhole access technology where you're using a fiberglass wrap or a silicate or any sort of ambient patch on the packer itself. This is a push in place. So the image that you see here with the wheels and the puck, the attachment pushes right on top of the Schwalm, not on top of the Schwalm, in the front of the Schwalm. We push it into place. The dongle that you see on top is where your lateral portion is. Once we wrap that liner around, we secure it onto the packer. We push it into place. Once the dongle reaches the lateral, we then use a pancake compressor. Not too much to this process. This process I've actually installed over probably 300 myself. It's pretty simple. Once the ambient cure liner cures out, you'll deflate, and then you'll pull the packer away, creating a 6-inch lateral. I should say 6 inches up the lateral, whether it's a 4 or 6-inch lateral, to sizes up to, I believe we go up to 24-inch main sizes. So single manhole access. The two air lines that connect to this packer run underneath the Schwalm. As soon as you grab it, the two air lines run directly underneath. We also, at Vortex, do provide products for the connection liner in order to create that seal in a CIPB liner. Picote Robo Tools. So like I mentioned earlier, if you're not familiar with Picote, us at Vortex, we are one of the largest North American distributors for the Picote tooling. We have an abundance. We have over $1.5 million worth of Picote tooling for our plumber drain cleaner side. Not only plumber drain cleaner side, but it was intended for the plumber drain cleaner side. We are now expanding into the larger contracting side just because of the amount of tools that Picote offers. From chains to sandpaper, to milling heads, how to descale cast iron pipe, imperfections in liners. It does happen today. There's so much CIPP going in the ground. Sometimes things happen, can be self-induced, whether it's not, but we can go in there and fix it with some of this Picote tooling and attach it right onto the front of the Schwalm. The big thing for Schwalm lately has been the robo tools, where the chains, being able to descale water mains, heavy scaling, just like your cast iron pipe will build up. We can go in there and descale. So grabbers, I know Picote makes a grabber. If you're trying to grab something with the Schwalm and you just can't grab it, now we can attach our Picote grabber onto the front of these robots. Anything you can get creative with on the Picote side and the Schwalm side, we've kind of created a monster to be able to use these tools on the Schwalm. Next slide is our AccuPower. This is our high pressure. We introduced this to the market last year. Big shout out to Nick Patrick and Kenny combined for coming up with a product to be able to cut out concrete, liner, anything that you can think of, and put it on the front of this robot was amazing. So you probably ask, man, it's got to be a lot of concrete. Yes. Sometimes there are breaks in pipe where they're pouring concrete next to, and they'll end up with several loads of concrete in a pipe before they realize it. Not having access and not being able to dig up the pipe, this is where this was introduced. We've made attachments as far as the orifices and the fins that Nick and the team have come up with to be able to put 40,000 psi. It is a specialty niched market when it comes to the Schwalm process itself, being able to send 40,000 psi of water out the front of these robots. But it's, we take extreme caution. There's specialty training that goes with this. Not every customer has it because there's a lot that it's a big investment. It's not only the tooling that goes onto the robot, you're investing into a high pressure pump. But in order to cut concrete out, you need about 40,000 psi. To cut out fins or lifts and liner, you need anywhere from 15 to 20,000 psi. The arm conversion for the AccuPower takes about 10 to 15 minutes to put on the robot, the 2060 itself. In the last 6 months, we did come up with a way to, we now have the same concept for our 1330 robot. So we do now offer this in the 2060 and 1330. The 1330 has limitations when it comes to pressure. I believe we're only allowed to go up to 20,000 psi. But a specialty tool. There's other high pressure cutters in the market, but Schwalm for sure is leading the way. Our all-electric Schwalm coming soon. This is something that we've been working on for a couple of years. We're moving in the right direction, and we look forward to unveiling the Schwalm electric cutter by Q4, mid Q4. But standalone, the power that I have seen come out of this robot so far is unmatched. We still will be able to utilize the robot itself. It's pretty much the motor that's going to be cooled with water. But the robot itself on the 2060 model right now, it's only the 2060, but it will still be the same robot. We're just changing things up on the cable and changing things up on the motor. But we're very close to unveiling this. I'm super happy with how the production has come on this. Truck and trailer retrofits. This is a big part of Schwalm, and for us, we're doing about a retrofit or a new build almost once a week. Our shop with our build out team, with our guys, I can't be how good a job they do with anything that we bring in. Some of the equipment that's brought in for our retrofitting needs help, needs a lot of help. And the customer knows that, but our team does a tremendous job of making these things go out the door and look brand new. But building trucks to your specs, however you want them, you give us an idea, whether it's a truck, a trailer, a van, anything that I can think of that we've thrown to Kenny and his team. These guys have really, they'll make it work. And when they make it work, they make it work for the customer so he can make money and not break the bank. We make it work. Our current turnkey design comes from our 18-foot Schwalm trailer that we have currently built. We keep them readily available in stock. We can put a 12-pin system in these or a 19-pin system with these. We do get creative. We have gotten creative for CIPP lining customers where they want their Schwalm system incorporated into a trailer that can house their lining equipment, whether it's connection liners, lateral liners, whether it's an 18-foot trailer or 21 or 24-foot. We can build them custom to what you need. Not only just for a Schwalm cutter, we're also able to incorporate CCTV equipment. So if you have an existing CCTV equipment that you would like to incorporate into a new Schwalm trailer, big or little, we make it work in the trailer or a truck for that matter, however the customer needs. A little bit more on the retrofit. This is a quick image of something that we did this year. This was one of our this is probably one of our most challenging trucks. The customer brought it and said, I know I have a budget to follow, but if you guys can make this thing look shiny and new, we made it happen. Down to the floor, to the walls, themselves, the office. I know you don't see a picture of the office, but we made it customer friendly for their CCTV equipment as well, with shelving. Just a quick image of what we're doing in Greenville for retrofits. So as far as the R&D that we've been able to do, again, I can't express enough about the support, the service that is unmatched with our team, being able to help not only contractors but municipalities. We are seeing the municipality start to expand their horizon outside of just CCTV. And starting to expand into the cutting market, not taking anything away from the contractor, but if a contractor can't get there quickly, them being able to have something where they can go cut open a service or a protruding tap, or even cleaning. The Schwalm also offers tooling to attach jetter robots. So if you don't have a clean out and you need to clean the first foot or 3 feet from the main, and not being able to access Jane Bob's, clean out and clean from that way, we're able to do that with a Schwalm. So many different attachments, and the support is unmatched for Schwalm. And I believe we're growing and we're expanding as far as thinking outside the box. Even though the Schwalm robot may not look like it's changing much, we are changing things for the culture. Okay, I rambled through pretty quick. I usually deal in front of a large audience in front of me, but I hope I answered the majority of everybody's questions before they ask them. But I'm always open to answer any questions that I can after the fact. So, yeah, I'm ready for the questions.
Great. Well, thanks, Pete, for getting everybody more in the know about Schwalm Robotic Systems. As Pete mentioned, this is the Q&A portion of today's webinar. Enter any questions in the panel in the left-hand portion of your screen for Pete. Try to get them answered here today, and if we don't get answered during this time period, we'll answer them offline. So first, if I purchase a Schwalm system, what are the current lead times?
Current lead times are pretty quick when it comes to the build. It's depending on if we need to build out an existing truck, but that's something we can typically do in a week span. But if you're looking to get into Schwalm today and we need to send it out to you, our turnaround time is no longer than 2 weeks.
Great. So
our rental, I'll also address one question I think I probably missed was rental. So as far as that support goes, if you become a customer and you have a Schwalm robot and say you want, you've only purchased the 2060, but you need to be able to use a little robot inside of a smaller pipe, we do offer rentals as well to send out to customers.
Great. So can the Schwalm equipment be serviced in the field, or does it require going to a specialized repair shop?
No, it's a great question. If I skipped over that, but the robot technicians that I mentioned earlier in the presentation, the robot should only come back to our technicians at Schwalm if there's something of dire need, whether it's bearings, something misplaced. I know I was at the office last week and walked in and saw a gentleman fixing a robot that had been accidentally dropped 25 feet down on a manhole. So that training is why it's so important. We want to make sure that you guys will be able to have the tools, the knowledge, how to fix these robots in the field. If there's an instance where somebody's, just not able to fix it, that service does come to Greenville. We'll ship the robot to Greenville for repairs. Everything happens in the United States. I should have mentioned that at the beginning, but USA is where we want to fix these things. They are manufactured in Germany, but we keep enough robots and parts and everything in stock where I don't think we've ever had a robot go back to Europe in the past, I would say at least 10 years. Everything gets fixed in the United States. Currently today it gets fixed in Greenville, but that's why training is so important to make sure that the guys in the field or ladies can fix this equipment.
Good deal. So what air compressor would you use with your portable system?
Great. So the portable system, so out of that portable system that you saw in the presentation, that's turnkey with a generator. The only thing that you do need is air. Most customers today go with a 185 compressor. For cutting for our air motors, recommended power is 90 CFM. So any compressor that has 90 CFM, that's what we need for the portable system, and that's what we need for any of the retrofit or anything when you're operating a Schwalm. With compressors, they also make under the hood, under the body compressors. They're VMAC air compressors that they can put up under the body, so you don't have to tote around a compressor. But there's limitations with that as well. You need either an F600 or a 550 or a bigger Dodge 1-ton truck, whatever. You need the bigger truck. You can't roll with the smaller models just because of the clearance on the air motors. But that has been a big selling point to and for Schwalm, is being able to have that one-stop shop truck where you don't have to tote around a compressor. You can do underbody air. You can have your CCTV equipment. You can have your Schwalm cutting equipment all in one package on a truck.
Right. Do you have any information or anything in the way of data collection or condition assessment tools for the Schwalm Robotics?
Say that one more time.
Do you have anything on data collection or condition assessment tools for the robotic systems?
To answer that question correctly, I think they're asking as far as data. Schwalm is not a PACP recording robot. The reason for that is you have a cutting tool on the front of your camera with PACP coding. I think I'm answering this correctly. You need to have a full obstruction view. So that's what your CCTV equipment is for today. As far as a pipe assessment, we can get creative and use recording with the Schwalm. You're able to record with some different software that we would use on the Schwalm Robotics side. So to answer that question, yes, we do. That's a case-by-case basis, but today the Schwalm Robotic is not used for CCTV televising and PACP coding, but we can get creative in a way in order to record data so you can take a video of what you're cutting or what you're viewing and send it back and put it on a copy.
Great. So you had mentioned during your presentation that there is an extension kit for the 1330, an ARM extension kit.
Yes.
Is there an ARM extension kit for the 2060, or do you not see a need for it?
There's no need for it. The camera is set back. So like I had mentioned, the 1330 camera is hard mounted and fixed onto the front of the robot. So there's really no adjustment onto the 1330 robot. The 2060 has multiple different adjustments for the camera, whether it's the height or length or setback and close. But there's really no need for a camera adjustment. I mean, where we fix it and set it on a 2060, there is no need for arm extensions on the 2060. It's right where it needs to be.
All right. So does the camera and body of the robot need to be pressurized in order to properly function?
Yes, correct. I think it's 0.2 bar for, there is a, if you're familiar with CCTV equipment, whether it's Q's, Aries, IBOC, and Virusite, and whether it's different cutters, whether it's our cutter or the next cutter, they all require air, and they pressurize the system, keeping the water out. On our robotic side, we have two different air ports. There's one for the camera and there's one for the body. We ask, this is part of training. We make sure that the customers in the field are properly airing up their robots, keeping the moisture out of the robot and the camera itself, being able to function. If you neglect this over time, it's not the fact that it'll shut down, but you're working in a sewer, you're working in a wet environment. If you do neglect this step, you can create moisture behind the lens. You can create moisture inside the body that then can build up, and things just deteriorate. They rot. There's drive motors inside the body with different components that can rust. So those are, yes, to answer that question, which different air that we need.
If you just print out some copies at like the hotel or whatever, it's probably okay, something. But yeah,
is there somebody, Kit? Someone needs to mute themselves, I think.
Things that I don't think that you would probably.
All right, I guess we'll just roll on. All right, there we go. Somebody was unmuted on our end.
Yeah.
Sorry. So what is the image quality from the camera, and is there zoom-in capability?
Yes. So we offer a focus camera for the front of our robots, and we also offer a zoom camera. Our zoom cameras are more intended for your the Packer system in order to do CIPP point repairs and connection laterals in order to zoom in so we can make sure that we're correctly on point. But most of our cutting operators today prefer the focus camera and the clarity of the focus camera itself.
Right. So you talked a little bit about your AccuPower system. Is there a pipe size limitation for that?
So pipe size limitation for the AccuPower system, we do offer. It'll be the same pipe discrepancy for your 1330 robot and your 2060 robot, but with AccuPower you can get a little bit creative because you're not trying to cut something. You're using high pressure to reach a point. So with your big robot, if you're putting AccuPower on the front of it, you could probably get creative and find a way to be using AccuPower in a 30 to possibly a 36-inch pipe for sure.
So you discussed the air motors that are you discussed those air motors that are available. What is the difference between the air motors?
The difference between the two air motors are I get the three, but the 1330 air motor is a higher RPM, which and the capabilities of the reach of the little one, and then we have the 2060 air motor, which is the reach and low torque on the big. That's pretty much the difference of the air motors. The air motors are good for up to these things. As long as the customer is properly using air tool oiling, making sure that they don't rust and they seize on the motor itself. There's bearings and fins inside those air motors that the customer can get a kit and fix these in the field. They're pretty simple to fix. There's no rocket science behind that either. So that's also a big bonus and a plus for the air motors themselves to be able to fix those in the field.
Great. Are air dryers and coolers required after the compressors but before the body?
Yes. We have an air dryer and cooler water separator built in right on on our air hose reels today. So wherever the air goes in, whether you're plugging it into the truck or the reel itself, there's an air water separator built in right on the reel. Yes.
Okay. Are the cameras and digital boxes interchangeable between the 1330 and the 2060?
Yes. If you missed that point, the two components, those are the two components of the Schwalm robot. Like any other cutter out there, if anything were to go wrong with these robots out in the field, we're able to swap. So if a contractor has a big and little robot, we're able to swap out the brain boxes and see if there's something going on different between the two. If you do only purchase, or you get into Schwalm and you only have one robot, we would highly suggest having a backup camera and a backup brain box digital component in the back, just for spare. Just like you would with anything else in the construction industry, having backup and spares, because the moment you don't think it's going to break is the moment that it'll happen, and you need to be able to fix this as soon as possible.
So with the Schwalm Robotics setup, can a top hat be installed in a 4-inch or 6-inch lateral within a 27-inch egg-shaped sewer?
I'll have to go back. I thought our limit, I believe we make a 30-inch packer. And as far as egg shape, I'd have to check on that, because I think you would need a bladder. So I think the answer to that question is no. Egg-shaped pipe is a specific size. You'd have to use a bladder that could conform to the pipe. So there's different means and methodologies for every technology, but I think there's definitely a way where Schwalm can help. I have installed myself a connection liner in an egg-shaped pipe with a Schwalm robotic. It just takes a different packer setup that has a bladder system, not a hard rubberized bladder that can't conform and press out against the pipe.
I don't recall if you got into this at all. Sorry if you did. But if somebody wanted to purchase a Schwalm robotic cutting system, who should they reach out to, or who do they get in contact with?
So you can contact Schwalm USA directly on our website. We have a contact information there, or we also have a team of TSM, our sales reps. We have 10 different strategic TSMs throughout the United States that can help you get started, get the ball rolling. There's some questions that we like to get started with during the process of needing a Schwalm, or is it something that could benefit me or help, or just ballparking, knowing the price out front. We can get you, all of our TSMs today are very knowledgeable on this product. We have all sat down many days discussing anytime there's any sort of improvement or anything that we're doing new with Schwalm, we let our team know. But our sales team's out there grinding, helping out our industry, knowing, and we do have a couple, we do have strategic resellers throughout the U.S. as well that are helping grow our market. We just can't touch today. There's so many people out there that are just getting to know Schwalm, that are new to Schwalm, didn't even know Schwalm existed, or any type of cutter that we're discussing today. But our support, not only on the technical side, but the sales side as well. So whether you reach out to Schwalm USA directly, we get you in touch with the TSM, we'll lead you in the right direction.
I guess along those thoughts, is there a website people could go to?
Yes, our vortextechnologies.com. On our website will lead you to our Schwalm Robotics division side, and our contact information will be there.
Good. Well, that brings us almost to the hour, so we'll wrap things up. We had some great questions today. Appreciate everybody's feedback and interaction. Any questions we didn't get to, we'll try to address those offline via email. Thank you again to Pete for presenting today, and thank you to Vortex Companies for sponsoring today's webinar. And finally, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. If you'd like to refer to this webinar, you can do so at any time by visiting trenchlesstechnology.com/webinars and selecting today's webinar from the on-demand webinar section. This will be available for 1 year. As a reminder, any views or opinions presented in this webinar are solely those of the presenters and do not necessarily represent those of Benjamin Media, Inc., the publisher of Trenchless Technology magazine, nor does Benjamin Media, Inc. endorse any products or methods presented. Have a great day, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you.